I have a slightly different take on the subject, in the sense that the expectation that cyberspace will somehow be any less dysfunctional than the real world, I think that is a misplaced expectation. Cyberspace, to me, is going to be a mirror of the real world with all its warts and all its fissures and what General Huda talked about. And I think we should be prepared for that. And every time, you know, I see some new aspect of either cybercrime or a threat related to cybersecurity, the first question in my mind is, what is its analog in the real world? So, you know, when you have ransomware, what is its analog or what is its counterpart in the real world? Similarly, impersonation, you know, theft, robbery, and so all these things, this thing about political influence or using cyber tools to influence the outcome of elections or influence political opinion. Now, step back a bit. Do we seriously believe that it didn't happen earlier? Prior to these cyber tools, the development of these cyber tools? I think not. I think, you know, that intelligence agent, sir has been in this game long enough to know that, you know, right through the 50s and 60s at the height of the Cold War and so on, the game was played. It was played using different tools. Now, of course, the tools are digital, and that's that. So, to say that somehow this represents an unprecedented threat or something which has never happened before is not true. It's a novel threat. It's using novel means for sure, but the intentions and you know, the dynamics of it, I don't think they're radically different from whatever happened in the previous time. Now, coming to the core issue of cybercrime and cybersecurity, I see cybercrime essentially as a subset of cybersecurity. I think cybersecurity is a far larger issue. Cybercrimes, of course, police forces across the country are struggling to, I would say they are struggling to adapt, largely because if you see the structure of our police forces, 95% of our organizations are the constabulary, and the level of entry of a, you know, the minimum qualification required for a police constable is, even today in most states, is class 10th pass, and that, given this, you know, the quality of the average quality of our government schools and so on, you know, to somehow expect that overnight these police forces will, you know, reorient themselves, become tech savvy, become this thing, that's not going to happen. So we really need to look at, you know, radical change in the way we recruit and train our police forces if we really want to meaningfully counter the threat of both cybercrime and cybersecurity. Also, I feel that without serious investments in basic policing, I don't think you're going to get, you know, this cyber policing and cutting edge policing is going to miserably fail in delivering its promise. You have to, you know, do a lot of capacity building in basic policing before you can talk about, you know, having police forces that are confident of meeting threats to our cybersecurity. The experience of our police forces with the IT Act has not been a happy one. I mean, you know, we've attracted a lot of flack, and I think most of it quite justified from civil society because of you know, mindless application of 66A of the IT Act, you know, where somebody just putting a simple post on Facebook or, you know, using a morphed image or something, they are being arrested and sent to jail and so on. I don't think that was the original intent of the framers of the Act, and I'm sure they didn't visualize that, you know, some enterprising SHO wanting to curry favor with the local political dispensation suddenly decides, okay, oh, this is how I'm going to build my credibility as, you know, as a ruling party's man. So definitely, I think, you know, I think the IPC in itself is a very, very comprehensive act. I mean, I do not know of any other penal code that has tackles such a range of human behavior so comprehensively. So how to adapt it to cyberspace, digital world, of course, that is going to remain a challenge. And given the proclivities and the problems of grassroots policing, I would say, we need to tread very carefully. There's always a demand from a section of society for very tough laws for any new emerging problem, whether it's a drug problem, whether it is a terror problem, and now whether it is a cyber problem, or just somehow by passing tough laws, we'll solve the problem. I mean, to give you the Nirbhaya example, we introduced the death penalty and so on. Has it really made a dent in the problem of? I'm not sure. So I think that needs to be. But coming back to what Sandesh was saying, I think we need to tackle digital illiteracy on a war footing. And by that, I mean, I was reading somewhere, I think some counties in California, they have introduced teaching of coding at the primary school level. And the way I see, the way the world is evolving, I see that basic knowledge of coding is going to be as essential as basic communication skills and basic quantitative skills. So I think we need to, prepare our future generations for that. And I think at some point, coding will have to come into the primary school curriculum.